SDI, we've got a whole range of 12G SDI products this year. You know, broadcasters, when we introduced our first Ultra HD products with 6G SDI, the broadcasters told us that they wanted 60p. In fact, it's absolutely the most important thing they need. So Ultra HD is great, but it's not as important as 60p. So what we did is we used 12G SDI to solve the problem of doing up to 2160p 60. But the great thing about that is it's compatible with everything that you have. So you know, you can do obviously using data, optical fiber connectors and things like that. But what you really want to do is plug all that Ultra HD equipment into the equipment you have. I mean, there's no point doing the World Cup and then putting all that equipment in the basement because you can't use it. You know, the equipment we've got is only a few $100 or maybe a few $1,000s more than the HD equipment that we had a year ago. So we think that people can do high frame rate Ultra HD by using 12G SDI, and you can, but most of the time you're just running HD with it. So 12G SDI is really good. You can run it within racks, within the room, within equipment rooms. Now, if you want to go long distances, almost all our 12G equipment has optical fiber sockets, so you can have modules as you need. You can go up 4 floors, so it's great. And we also think that Ultra HD is really important. The broadcasters actually do want it; they just need 60p. And we all know what it's like to watch standard definition video nowadays when we're in a HD world. And we think that if you do production in Ultra HD, because we've got the entire ecosystem now, we think what you end up getting is a much nicer result, even if you're just using down-converted HD output to broadcast, but the content you're generating is preserved in Ultra HD, which means it's going to be syndicated over the years and it's going to have a long life. In 5 years' time, we're going to kick ourselves going, oh, we didn't do that job in Ultra HD. So I think, to us, 12G SDI is a great solution for the high frame rates, the fast action sports. So I'll go through quickly some of the products that we've got. Now, to start with capture and playback devices, we've got a new product called Ultra Studio 4K Extreme. It's the ultimate breakout box. It's got everything on it. But what we've done is, you can obviously, it's got everything on it, but we've also got, it's a Thunderbolt product with a PCI Express cable on it. So, high-end Hollywood guys, the guys doing feature films want to go higher frame rates. They want high resolutions, even stereoscopic. So, you can plug in PCI Express, the optical fiber cable if you want the real speed, and you can kind of, get around the Thunderbolt speed issue. But also, this product has a hardware codec in it. So we've got ProRes and the products that record playback ProRes in the unit. But also, we're doing H.265 compression in the unit, which we're showing on the front of the booth. And we've been working on that for a little while, and that will give us the ability to encode in real time H.265, which is the distribution format for Ultra HD, because it's much tighter than H.264, a very modern format. That's the format people are interested in using. You can see it's got you can see we've got the back recce's come off, so it's a really good product for using on desktop. It'll be available in July for $2,995. Now, another product we've got is Declink 4K Pro, and I'll move through these products fairly quickly because we haven't got a lot of time. But this is a dual-link SDI in-out card. It's 12G SDI, so it gives you, the reason for dual-link is you can do fill and key. So you can build graphics stations out of it and do real-time fill and key. And it's only $595, so it's a good product for people building graphics workstations, and OEMs use it as well. Now, I'll get into some of the more Ultra HD production equipment. Now, we've got these products are called Terranex Mini. We had a problem doing 12G mini converters because the converter can't get rid of the extra heat you get with 12G SDI, but we needed a range of mini converters that can do high frame rate Ultra HD. So what we did is we've increased the size of the box a little bit and a little bit higher, and it gives us a bunch of really good advantages, and we think this is a really, it's solved, we want to put screens and mini converters and things like that, and we really couldn't do it based on that shape. So with a little bit of extra height, we can build power supplies, you can build all those power bricks, you can use normal XLR connectors, and we even got an Ethernet connector so you can remote administer the converter. But also the great thing is you can even power the converter from the Ethernet if you've got a power and Ethernet switch, so you don't even need to plug the power in. So it's pretty cool. And of course, you can see it's really not very much bigger than a mini converter. If you look at the power supply, mini converters are actually quite cumbersome. So I think it's a really good form factor. But the really exciting thing is that we can take the front panel off, the smart panel, it's only $85, and put a little screen on there, and you do all those settings through the menus. So the converter's got dip switches in the front, there's a little label on the bottom showing what the switches are, but if you put the front panel on, it actually hot plugs, you can do it when the converter's on. Then you can get all the displays up, and you can also see the audio levels and what video you're converting. So we think it's a much better form factor. You can see there it is with the panel off, and you can see it with the panel on. And you can, the great thing is they look great on the desk, so you can actually, instead of hiding them and ducking behind desk, you can use them on a desk. You see they look quite nice. Now, the other problem with converters, the rack converters have got speed limitations. With all those sockets and connectors, it's quite hard to move up in speed. So to get to 12G, we're having difficulty doing 3G on converters that are cards. And the other problem with cards, you can't use them separately. So these converters, rack mount, they're quite a cheap $145 shelf, and you can put up to 3 converters in there. And the good thing about that is that the shelf's quite low cost. You don't have to fill the rack with cards. And you can take the converter out and just use it separately whenever you like. So, and of course, you've got great redundancy, and you can power the converters off the Ethernet. So if you've got a more plugged into a switch, you don't need to plug any of the power cords in. You can see that they are rack mounted, and they look really great. Broadcasters can walk right up the front, push the buttons. And also, there's the remote administration utility, so we've got a really nice utility to control the converters in the building. And we've also got the 12G SDI range. We've got to and from HDMI, to and from analog, and to and from audio, so SDI, audio, SDI. We've also got a whole range of 12G optical fiber modules in as well. So we can talk about optical connectors and put optical fiber. So you can actually run optical fiber straight to the converter, which is fantastic when you're running off-the monitoring all around the building. We've also got a 2ME broadcast switcher. This is a full 12G live production switcher, 20 inputs. Every input's got a resynchronizer. The whole thing works in high frame rate Ultra HD. It's got DVE, super source, the whole thing. It's got big and medium pool. The multi-viewers are native Ultra HD, so they're really sharp. Very powerful switcher. It takes 6G inputs that I convert them to the high frame rates. So it's a very powerful switcher. It's, I can't really do some of these products justice because we've got so little time and we've got to move on, but it'll be available in June for $5,995. And that's $1,000 more than what our HD switcher was last year. So really you're not paying very much more for 12G to get all that high frame rate Ultra HD. And we've got a whole ecosystem. We've got a new talkback converter that manages talkback to all the cameras. You can run VNC cables or optical fiber cables to the cameras, just depending if you have the optical fiber modules. This whole ecosystem, the HyperDeck Studio 12G, which is a new 12G high frame rate HyperDeck. You just put in a disc with a high frame rate file on it, and it just switches over to 12G and plays back. You can put a disc in with an SD on it. It will just switch over to SD SDI and play back. It's a great thing about 12G, it just plugs into everything you've got. So you can run these equipment every day, just doing normal HD work. And that'll be available for $2,495. Of course, you need a switcher, so we've got smart, you have 12G, 40x40. The problem with, this works exactly the same as our current switcher, the 40x40 we have, except it's 12G. So you put one of these in, it won't block the signal, it'll route the signal through. Doesn't matter if SD, HD, Ultra HD, 3G, 6G, it'll do the lot. All simultaneously on the same router. And it'll be $4,995. There it is on the back. It's exactly the same as the current switcher we have, it plugs straight in. This is actually one of the only 6G products we have. It's a clean switch. It's a 12x12 router with resynchronizers on all the inputs. So you can cleanly switch between sources if they're all completely out of sync. As long as it's the same video standard, you get really clean switch out. And we all use that for driving big screens. A lot of times people use live production switches, but you can use one of these. It's only $1,500. It'll be available next month. So we'll get to cameras, which is more flamboyant and exciting. This is where I wanted to move through fairly quickly because I'm going to explain a bit about why we've done some of the things we've done. The pocket camera was designed for handheld use. That's why we designed it. In fact, it was designed to be very small, very handheld, and it did a bit of a stealth digital film camera. But the problem is that people have been putting them in drones, they've been using them remotely, they've been putting them in cars when they're shooting it, they're seeing it in a car. And the difficulty is you can't see whether the camera's recording because you've kind of got your head jammed around the back trying to see if it's recording. What we actually needed to do is build a camera that had the controls on the front. Then you could see that you can hit record, you can see the tally lights on. You can tell it's recording and you have a few mounted in a car. But that got our thinking going further and we thought, well, we could put a real kind of hackable connector on it, do more than just, much better camera design. Similar, kind of product, essentially similar, but we could build something for this. And that's the big thing that we really wanted to do. And so we've reduced the size of the camera even more. We've put the controls on the front. But what's really exciting is we've got this awesome expansion pod on the side. So we've got an Ultra, we've got a HD Super 16 camera with 30 slots of dynamic range. It looks really nice, and it's got manual iris settings. So you don't have the iris going all over the place. Although we are going to add some automatic iris features to it. So it's a really nice time-back digital film camera. It's got the tally light on the front, so you can tell it's recording when you've got them there in a car or in some other situation. And you've also got the record button on the front. But what I really love what we did is we put this expansion port on the side. You can see here's a great indication how small it is. It's a very tiny camera. You can see the tripod's bigger than the cameras. And if I move through, you can see the model aircraft have these servos. And this is the thing we were thinking about. What's a really cheap way of remote controlling a digital film camera? Well, you've got to make it small so you can hide it or put it in interesting places. But what you want to do is make it really easy to control and, in fact, really hack into it. And these model aircraft use these servos. And they've got this PWM connection. And there's a little receiver in them. And what happens is it adjusts this servo backwards and forwards. Now, we've got 4 of those on the micro cinema camera. So you plug that receiver into the camera and you can map all the camera controls across to the channels. And we've also got another type of camera control called S-Bus, which is the more, sort of some of the later model rating control sets used. And that's got 18 channels with one connection. So what that lets you do is control like the lens iris, or you can control focus, or you can, of course, you can tell the camera to stop and start recording. But this camera's got a raw recorder in it, or a ProRes recorder. So you don't want to just fill that media up just by trying to get your camera in position, particularly if it is on a drone. With this expansion connector, you can tell it to start recording, you can tell it to stop recording, and we've got that on the front of the booth so you can see it. But what's really fun about that is this is the most boring connector you can find. We wanted something that a $10 soldering iron and some guy could just solder up himself. You've even got a little pin on here with 5 volts on it from the battery of the camera, so you can wire a switch up and just like have a mechanical switch for recording and stop recording. But you can do all kinds of stuff, and you can do it remotely. And there's composite video out of here. So I think it's the first camera we've done with composite video out. So we've got a full-size HDMI, but you can put the little video transmitters in. It's got all the overlays on it, the audio meters and histograms. So you can see what the camera's doing when it's coming back. You can monitor it, you can know if it's recording. And then, of course, because you're recording in the camera raw, you've got incredible quality. And the sensor goes up to 30 frames a second global shutter, up to 60 frames a second in total with the rolling shutter. So you've got really very nice looking pictures. You can see we've got the SD card recording on the side. External microphone input. You can see some of the uses that you can do in a car, on action cam type situations. A lot of people use the action cams for doing these kinds of shots. The problem is that it's a consumer products, whereas this you can put whatever type of lens on you like, so you get a much more cinematic look. All kinds of different situations, and of course we've got them on drones on the front of the booth. So that'll be available in July for $9.95, and I think already from the people we've talked to, I think there's a million ideas that we can do with it. So it's going to be a really fun, crazy little camera, but I think it'll be really exciting to see what's being done with it. Similar image sensors to the pocket cinema camera, so you're going to get that really nice little stuff that we've been seeing. The people have been producing some wonderful music videos and television shows and all sorts of things with the camera, and this will really add to it because you'll be able to intercut that material pretty nicely because it's a very simple sensor. So the big question, and this is a bit of a side thing, we thought, well, we've got a great chassis, what happens if we build it, could we build a studio camera out of it? So last year we did our studio camera 4K, which we've got a few down the back here recording. So what we did is we stripped the entire inside of the camera out and we put our studio camera 4K inside the chassis. There's nothing similar about these cameras at all, they're totally different, apart from the metal bracket on the front and the lens mount. But it's an Ultra HD sensor in there, it's a video sensor, not a digital film sensor. We've taken all the refrigeration and everything out, so we don't need that for a normal video camera. And the light on the front's a tally light. It's got obviously no record button because it doesn't record. It's got SDI connections on the side. And we can do, it's got an SDI input, so we can do all the camera control stuff that we do from the switches through. We've got one over here, and you can see if we cut to it, you actually see the tally light come on. If it does do that. There you go. So that's actually now filming all you guys, and we're recording that, so if anyone's got anything weird, we'll catch it. But we've got all the camera control working in there, talk back is in there because it's got a little headphone socket on. If you plug an iPhone headset in, you can talk back to the switcher guy, and it's great if you're setting the cameras up. But you could put those cameras on set, they could be hidden behind a pot looking down at a wok as you're cooking in a cooking show, all kinds of things. But also, if you look at the side of the camera, it's got the same expansion port, but it's got different stuff on it. We actually have the S-Bus, funny enough, because it's only one connection, so we've got 18 channels of remote control. But we put B4 lens mount control on there. There's a little module we get. We've also put Pentel zoom out. And so the commands come in through the serial port and then come out of the expansion ports. Because it's a different camera, it's a wide camera, it's normally wide in, so there's no point having a lot of remote control stuff because you don't remote control like the micro cinema camera, which is obviously a completely free camera that's fully featured inside the camera. This one is a studio camera, so it's wide in normally, so we've got different types of expansion. So you can do the same kind of cool things in hack away. And then the S-Bus you can use on a microcontroller or a robotic camera head. You could use an underwater housing, you could put, connections from to the Maybe that'll help. So there it is on a remote head. You know, the control comes out straight from the remote head because the command's coming through the serial. So it's all self-contained. And the battery in this case is really a backup battery. It's almost wide in the power. And you can see here it is picked out with a really big lens. You've got a little module here that's got regulators in it that protects the lens from this voltage swings coming in. The camera's actually got, I think it's 12 to 18 or 20 volts of range. The specs on their website, but you don't want that to hit the lens. So a little regulator module there to protect the lens. But you can do that. That was one of the biggest feedback points we had last year, that people wanted to be able to add a similar, like an ENG lens to our studio cameras. So we have it in this one. And you can put a monitor on there and essentially build your own studio camera, but you can treat it as a camera head. So you can see there, it's got a shot you can get with it. You can really put it up close to the action. So it's pretty exciting, some of the uses you can use this for. And it's just, pepper the set with all kinds of different studio cameras. It's really quite an exciting thing. You have more angles. It's actually a much more exciting production. And they're fixed angles too, so they don't require a lot of extra staff, because they're just these lots of different interesting sort of positions and shots. Now we've got a new product. That camera is sort of essentially, sometimes you're going to want to put a recorder on it, so I've got us thinking about using a small monitor and a recorder. So Blackmagic Video Assist it's a video assist, but also lets you add professional recording, and it's a HD product, so you add professional recording and monitoring. It's a nice bright screen, all beautiful on-touch screen controls. Works with any SDI and HDMI camera. I've got it on the DSLR here. Although I don't know why I use a DSLR, because we use our cameras. You see a little SD card slot on the side. You can see it's all nice on-screen controls, very small. A couple of batteries on the back. It'll run one battery all the way down before it uses the second battery. So you can unplug the batteries, but if you power it on one of the batteries as well than the other, it'll keep hitting the lowest battery. So you don't have to have two batteries running low. So it's a good thing. It'll help you keep changing batteries so you keep it running, because you might be recording something important. What's really good about this product too is that it is actually a 6G SDI in, so it will actually monitor Ultra HD, because obviously the studio camera is Ultra HD. It'll down-convert and record that to HD, but it is actually an Ultra HD monitor. And you can see, you can use it for lots of things. It's particularly great on some of the cameras if you need an extra view on the top and the screen's not facing the right way. And also it's great if you're going to record, say, HD ProRes and while the camera's recording RAW. So you can kind of do your job in HD because that's what your client wants, but you're not quite sure if you might need to do something better, like maybe Ultra HD or even something in film. So you can record RAW inside the camera to preserve all the 4K, and you can move on and use the HD files for another job. That'll be available in July for $4.95. Okay, so I'll move a bit quicker, so we're moving on. We've got a great new viewfinder for Bursa. It's got a 3-element glass dial burst, so it's beautifully accurate. It's got a full HD OLED screen. It's even got a sensor to turn it off when you're not using it, so you can really preserve the OLED life. It's so clean. The pixels are so sharp. I mean, you can't see the pixels. So it's like using an optical viewfinder. It's adjustable left and right eye. It's got a full 360 adjustment. It's got menus in it. It's got focus peaking and zoom. It's got even a focus chart, so you can help focus it to your eye to make sure that then, of course, you've got perfect focus through the camera. It's just really, really nice. It looks great on Bursa too. It's designed for Bursa. And it will be available in July for $1,495. So it's a really nice viewfinder. We're really happy with how it's come up. It's something we've been working on for a little while. We didn't really have it last year, but we've got it now, and it's really exciting. It's all magnesium, so it's really light. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, we've been working for a couple of years now on a new digital film sensor. And what we've got is, the new sensor's got, it's 4.6K, but it's 15 stops at dynamic range. It's really an amazingly, I mean, we were shooting with it at night, and there was some flame and everything, and we were looking at the camera to see more detail on the camera than we could with our eye. I mean, it's better than most film stocks. So, we've spent a lot of money on this, but it's just so nice. It's just, I mean, I've got a sort of telecine background, and the original cinema camera was fantastic, but that wide dynamic range is something we wanted. Because, obviously all the guys doing DaVinci Color needed all that range to be able to really bring out what they wanted. And, it's been such a great thing having a cinema camera. Now they have this at 4.6K. And the great thing about 4.6K is it's enough extra resolution to make up for bail loss, but at the same time it's not too much extra resolution. You just have all this extra file all the time that you're trying to manage because it's recording this huge file. So it's a really nice size. It's got global rolling shutter. We can run global shutter up to, on Ursa, it'll run up to 120 frames a second rolling shutter. It'll run up to 60 frames a second global. So it's a little different with the 4K sensor. That 4K sensor runs a little at 120 global shutter. This is a bit of a compromise. You can actually turn on global rolling shutter as well. So you get 15 stops at rolling shutter and slightly less on global shutter. So you've got a bit of best of both, a bit of a compromise to try and get both. So we're going to be introducing 2 new models of Ursa, the Ursa 4.6s, and both EF and PL. They'll be available in July. What we'd like to do is the upgrade is $2,000. So we've just reduced the price of the 4K Ursas by $1,000. The difference is actually the cost of the upgrade. So the great thing is people get into the 4K Ursa at the moment and then move up at the same price. But we want to we'll probably have these sensors really in volume late July, early August. But we will have a certain amount of volume up until then, which we'd like to kind of more divert towards the guys upgrading the Ursas. So the guys that bought the Ursas get a chance to get the upgrades first. But either way, we're hoping to get that in online pretty soon. It's a wonderful sensor. So obviously, getting back to the traditional cinema camera, and we kind of talked about this a little bit last year. This camera was designed to be handheld. This is what we really designed it to be. It was, sort of like a DSLR usage case for us. But the thing that shocked us at the time was the number of people who were trying to use it in other ways, like, for example, like this. And, that wasn't really the way we designed it. So we had to get to work to solving that problem for everybody. And what we've done is we've built Ursa Mini, and it's taken everything we've kind of got from Ursa. It's half the frame rate. Obviously, it doesn't have all the screens and scopes and things, but what we've got is a much more portable Ursa. Same sensors as Ursa, so all the material in the cuts. Here it is here. This is the Ursa Mini with the accessory kit on it. And Peter's bringing it out with the whole thing. And it's great. I mean, it's just such a wonderful camera. It's been really fun to work on. What's also nice is the shoulder mount has the quick release in it. But if you don't add a latch, you can just bolt it to the tripod. So it's got, I mean, I'll move through and I can show you. It's got the same viewfinder as the Ursa has, so it works with the same viewfinder. The same battery solutions. It's got this little, wonderful little full resolution HD screen on the side. It's very bright. It pivots around. It's got dual C-fast cards, so we can record continuously, which is obviously what the current cinema camera can't do. It does up to 60 frames a second. It's also got, those 2 cards can be used in parallel if you want to record raw at high frame rates. So it's nice, they can work together. It's got 12 GSDI, so it's got the latest technology. It's got time code, and it's got reference input. What we're seeing here is the accessory kit, which is $395. It's got the shoulder mounted rosettes on the bottom and the handle at the top. It also comes with the extender rod, so you can move. There's a handle that comes on the side of it by default, and that's just normal rosette. So you can take the handle off and extend it down with the accessory kit on. Here's an example of the body, and you can see the handle on the side. Now it's got record controls and it works with lamp. And so when you put that accessory kit on, you can take the handle off and move it down. But you can take the handle off and mount it to a crane or something like that as well, because it's a proper rosette. And then of course, when you put the shoulder kit on, you get 2 more. So it's nice, you put it on. So this camera is great, you can hand hold it, flip the screen out, hand on it, is exactly like the current cinema camera body works. You get that same usage, but at the same time, when you put the accessory kit on, you get it on your shoulder, put it on the tripod, hand hold it, back on your shoulder. Really mobile, really portable. It's all magnesium, it's really light. The ones here we have to show are a bit heavier because they've got aluminium parts because they're prototype units, not full production units. We're in production now, but we'll be running up in sort of late July. Everything seems to be 25 weeks these days in the electronics industry for some reason. So we've got tons of manholes on the top, tons of manholes on the bottom. You can see a better shot of the handle there. We've got really nice microphones in the front as well. When you're hand holding a camera, you don't really want a lot of microphones hanging off, it just adds to the bob. So the trick is to try and build everything in. So the original Ursa philosophy was to build everything in, which we did. This one has got similar philosophy to build everything in. And because of the same sensors between the cameras, you need to cut between the 2 cameras. So the Ursa's great for the larger crews. And if you look at, well, here's some usages. So you can see it's a full digital film camera. There's nothing having about this at all. The sensor, the sensor options are amazing. You've got all the same workflows and obviously the panel mount versions if you're running higher-end feature films. And you can hand hold it really easily for all that single point shooting type work. And at the same time, the thing that I'm really proud of is you can hand hold it exactly the same way as a cinema camera works, which is a really big thing for me. I like that very intimate type of shooting. A lot of people bought cinema cameras purely for that. And that, that really kind of getting in small with it. I mean, you don't want a large crew when there's some kind of tough scene for actors to deal with. So being able to get in with a very small lightweight camera is important, but then suddenly you put the rig on it and it becomes big. So it's a very kind of, flexible design. It can be one thing or the other. And, the other thing, of course, that's close to my heart is being able to deal with indie filmmakers and really have that sort of indie filmmaker guys coming up, and you know, they can work with a true digital film camera. If you look at the cameras you get, you know, this camera starts at $3,000 for the 4K Central EF. It's $2,995. If you look at what you get at that, it's basically a consumer camera, which is bigger plastic, and it looks like a professional camera. It's even got a little box in the front to make it look like a filmy camera, but it's really a basic consumer camera. And it's a sort of a bland product line of kind of, and it also traps you, holds people down. And you get locked into this, oh, I think this is like, you know, I'm doing a wedding and I've got this thing, this plastic camera. I mean, if we can make a magnesium digital film camera with dual recorders and wide dynamic range and all these features, and you know, a bunch of 20-year-old kids buy it and start doing indie film, and someone says to them, hey, that's a really great thing. Can I like fund that? We'll get it professionally finished and bring it into a post facility, really color grade it up. All their content's fine. And half the time these guys don't really quite realise what they're getting, and that's really exciting. And suddenly, before you know it, they've turned in, like they've done some wonderful indie film. It's getting coverage, it's going all over the place, and they've made money out of it. And the industry gets bigger, and there's more stories to be told. So I think this, to me, is the thing that always thrills me the most. I mean, I love what we do. When I look at Da Vinci, it's all the Hollywood movies, all this stuff is great. I mean, these guys are smart, exciting, they do cutting-edge stuff. But then when we can bring some of that to these guys, that's just thrilling. It's very exciting for us. So I really always like that. So obviously, where does that sit? Ursa? Well, there's differences obviously between the two, and they're part of the same family. They can be obviously used together. Ursa's much more for the larger crew, or someone who needs to bring like the on-set models and all that stuff and scopes and everything with them. So the same philosophy is still there. Obviously, Ursa's got more performance. It's bigger in size, so we can do 120 frames a second versus 60. That's a 10-inch screen versus a 5. Ursa's got scopes. It's got 3 screens actually on it, whereas the Ursa's got one, but the same battery solution, same viewfinder solution. They've both got 12G, funny enough. You can see the other angle here. Obviously got the audio meters and much more user-friendly stuff. You've got a crew member on the other side of the camera. You can see what they're shooting on here as that screen changes to video. Obviously, Ursa doesn't have that, but much smaller. And you can see obviously Ursa's upgradable. And I heard a few people saying, "Oh yeah, Blackmagic will never upgrade this camera," but this is why we did this last year. We were never sure when this sensor was going to come online. Here it is, so now you're going to have the ability to upgrade it, and I think that'll be really exciting. It is user upgradable. You have to be a little careful. There is a thermal block in here, and you need to thermally, there's a little thermal pad that comes with it. So we'll have a nice video for the customers to show them exactly how to do this, because others, we don't want them to get the thermal bit wrong underneath the camera, but it's pretty easy to do. It's just 4 bolts. So they'll be able to do that. So you can see on the side there, they've both got the monitoring position. The audio's on the top for Ursa Mini. There's balanced XLR audio that's mounted at the top. So you can plug the microphones down through the top. So there's the camera. These are shown without the handle, but the side handle comes with it. So the 4K EF PL, so it's $295 for the 4K EF. And the 4.6Ks are basically $2,000 more. So you'll see you buy the sensor type you need when you order it. So the last thing quickly to cover, I really obviously don't have enough time to talk about this, but Resolve has had a massive update. I think we've done more in the last year than what we've done in 5 years. We've had like almost 100 people working on Resolve. Obviously everyone told us they wanted more editing. We've added Multicam, we've added like audio plugins, third-party audio plugins, and you can edit them all on the timeline. We've got the most ridiculous, amazing number of trim modes. I mean, there's one of the demos the guys have got a whole bunch of frames of title sequences, and you can select all of them, adjust the overall duration, and all proportionally adjust. You can slip and slide multiple clips at the same time. You've got, you can drag, all the little things, which is important to me, like just being able to drag media into the timeline from the finder straight into the timeline. You've got motion paths on screen, you can adjust them, and all the parameters will pop out. It's smart with folders. There's so much stuff in Resolve 12, and the UI is much, much more refined. We think we've got a really nice look now. So I really encourage you to check that out on the front of the booth. But we've also put a video on the SD card and the press kits that show you what's new in Da Vinci Resolve. It to me is one of the biggest bits of news at the show. I just don't have enough time to just demo it for you, but it really is amazing. You can see the new UI is really quite nice with improved, there's all the usual things. We've got feedback from customers, larger curve palettes. You can select multiple clips and they can all be matched in the grades. There's a new 3D keyer in there, so you can drag lines and key, and then you can apply that key to all the layers if you're positive. It'll apply the color grade up and down the layers in there. You can see all the parameter adjustments here. And audio, it's got an audio mixer in it, so when you're playing back, you can actually adjust the audio mixer channels, and it'll vary the curve up and down on the audio level. I mean, it's got full multicam in there, which I can show you a slide of that. There's multicam running, so you create a multi-band clip and you're just cutting away, just like a switch over. It's exactly the same. It's really cool. It can synchronize all the clips with sound or with time code or with the start of the clip. So it's awesome. There's the media. There's a whole lot of media stuff. So, are you trying to hurry me up, eh? So you can deliver out the Pro Tools. It'll build up like one file with all the audio and a guide track, video, all out to Pro Tools. So I mean, there's so much in here. It's nuts. So that's really great. I really encourage you to check that out. It's one of the biggest updates, of course, because we don't have time to demo it here. The camera's a little bit more visible in some ways, but the DaVinci update's been huge. And I feel like we've finally got the world's best editor. And it's even got more collaboration with other apps like Final Cut, because as we do more editing, we can actually make everything work. Because these days you've got a slew of freelance guys coming in a facility, working on a job, they're moving somewhere else. You want people to not have to come in and use the company standard. They want to come in and use the tool they know. So let everyone work on the tool they know, and then DaVinci will just make the whole thing work together. So the more editing we do, actually the more collaboration we got. So it's awesome. It's just, that's what people want. They don't want companies fighting each other. They want companies working together so they can just go home. They don't want to struggle between the tools. They just want to go home after their job, spend all their energy on the cool thing they like doing, which is the creative bit, and go home. You know, they don't want to use up all their energy just trying to make the tools work. So that's really important. And the last little bit, just a quick note, is we've got Fusion working on Mac. When we bought Fusion, there's actually really good code base, but the UI code was Windows dependent. So we pulled that out, we're replacing it, and we've now got portability in the code base, and we'll hopefully finish that up mid-year, but we'll be doing Linux, Mac, and Windows, so we'll release it on all three platforms. And I think that'll be really nice, because again, people can use the platforms that they have, and they can just get Fusion working. I really hope there's a revolution in visual effects. So we're really just at the very start of that, but I think it's going to be very exciting. So I want to thank you guys for supporting us. You know, everything that you guys have done to help us and everything we sell, we play our up back in developing products. It's a shame we don't have enough time to go through things in more detail, but thank you for coming, and I really appreciate all your help with us over the years.